take on this wide receiver?
Oh, I think it's terrible. I think it's awful. I think it's absolutely horrendous.
Wait a second. There's a penalty on the play, and I'm like,
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
Join us on the phone. We have NFL prospect and future XFL player Jeremiah Spicer.
I don't know, man. I don't like to talk about myself like that, man.
Yeah. I told him if the Raiders took in Oliver, I was going to take him in the bathroom. So he won twice.
Here's the last time I checked, I am God, so slow your roll. Slow your roll down.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the G's and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to another episode of Football on the Know. It is our Halloween show. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
welcome, know-it-alls, to another edition of Football on the No Show.
Yeah, and we're celebrating Halloween. Halloween is tomorrow night, so we get very festive for our shows and stuff. I hope
the
you guys,
spirit.
enjoy everything that we've got going on here tonight. So, it's gonna be. We're gonna do a little Jedi stuff here and there, back and forth. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So, so it's another crazy week again, Joe, and more stuff with the referees, and things like that, and questionable calls. But I guess we can have that all the time. But everybody wants to talk about the trade deadline and how exciting it was going to be. And and again, it ended up being a dud. Like we saw the action happen, last week, and then a few days ago. But then, when it came down to it, I mean, my buddy and I we were just looking at right there at the clock right up until 4 o'clock, and we're like, what's going to happen? And a lot of nothing happened. We heard a lot of crazy big names. Even Le'Veon Bell with the Jets too. The three guys that are available with the Giants. Nate Solder, which I was hoping that they might pull the trigger there. Jenkins, but just they didn't have any suitors there, and other big names out there as well.
That's the thing, too, is there were suitors for all those players, but what it really comes down to is salary. You look at Nate Solder. Nate Solder's case, a lot of money to be thrown around there. So if a team was really that interested, they had to also take on the contract of said player. Look at the Jets, for example. The Jets, everything was reported. There was a rumor mill going around saying that the Jets were going to have a fire sale, just much like what Seattle did a couple years ago. That, Jamal Adams was on the trade block. Robbie Anderson was on the trade block. Le'Veon Bell was even late on the trade block. Nobody ended up getting traded because of the compensation also that was being requested to make that move. The Jets wanted way too much for Jamal Adams, and it was too rich for anybody's blood. So we heard a lot of big names being thrown around. We also heard Trent Williams from the Redskins thought that he for sure was going to be moved. The Redskins seemed like they came to a realization that, looks like Trent isn't going to play ball with us, so maybe we go and search for a trade partner. Nothing ever ended up panning out because, quite simply, the Redskins probably wanted too much in compensation for him. He's not a 27-year-old Pro Bowl tackle. He's a 30-something-year-old Pro Bowl tackle. He's in the middle of his 30s, so he is kind of going towards the end of his career. You're not going to get a whole lot for that type of guy. But we saw a lot of names being thrown around. We also heard Melvin Gordon come back up again. Maybe he gets moved. I thought if the Chargers were smart, they would have figured out who wanted him. You look at teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Maybe they wanted to bring him in the fold, and it just didn't end up working out. So regardless of if it was salary, if it was the expectation of paying a player after this year, because we look at the Giants trade with Leonard Williams, he's due to make some coin after this season. His contract ends after this year, and the Giants are now that they pulled off that trade, they're going to have to work out a deal for a multi-year contract for him. So there was a lot of different variables thrown around, and in the end, we didn't see as much activity as reported. However, all that activity ended up happening the week prior. We saw a lot of trades being pulled off 2 weeks before the deadline, and that was all the excitement. And then everybody thought there was going to be a big splash as we got down to the deadline. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen.
Yeah, and what ended up being, I guess, the bigger news was the Miami Dolphins. They acquire Aqib Talib from the Los Angeles Rams.
Right.
And they also get a fifth-round pick along with that as well, the Rams' fifth. And future picks now the Dolphins will be giving up. We didn't know at the time, but now we know what they're going to be. It's going to be a future 2021 and 2020. You know the rounds at all?
For the
Dolphins? The Dolphins were going to give them?
That's an undisclosed pick.
Still, yeah.
Okay. There's no details of what the Rams are getting back because, quite honestly, it's going to bank on a lot of things. It's going to bank on if Talib comes back and plays for the Dolphins, what they're going to get in compensation. Now, this move was for both teams. And some people look at it and be like, man, the guy's 33-year-old corner. Why would the Dolphins, who are rebuilding, want anything to do with a 33-year-old corner? He's a decent corner still at 33. However, we do know he could simply retire after this year. But what the move was made to do is that, one, the Dolphins were willing to eat cap. So the Rams wanted to get rid of that salary that Aqib Talib was making at $4.6 million for this year. So they moved that over to the Dolphins. The Dolphins, in turn, because they're willing to take over that money, the Rams send them a fifth-round pick. And there's an undisclosed pick that's going to be sent back to the Rams when it's all said and done. Really what this was all about is the Dolphins getting that fifth-round pick. They very well know that Talib, if his contract expires at the end of this year, is not staying in Miami.
Right.
Is rebuilding. And who knows? He might just decide to retire at this point because he's been traded twice now.
Yeah.
So he's got to be kind of getting sick and tired of moving all the time. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
So really, it's a salary cap savings for the Rams and more of the Dolphins just getting at least one pick for the upcoming draft to use.
And in this week, too, going along besides the trades, the 49ers go and flex their muscle against the Carolina Panthers, where I thought it was going to be a little bit of a closer game.
Yeah, we both thought that.
And we definitely know the
Absolutely.
defense of the 49ers is quite fierce, and Nick Bosa has been playing out of his mind. And but what they did to diminish the Carolina Panthers, I thought their defense would put up a bigger fight, and it just never happened. And Kyle Allen was getting attacked so much that it looked pretty scary too, to where it almost thought to me, we're going to talk about this in a little bit. We've got our annual trick or treat thing that we're going to do, but will the franchise get kind of skeptical on Kyle Allen now? I mean, if it depends if he plays poorly now. Will they, now that Cam Newton is healthy, get him back in here and try and settle the ship? But we're not sure about that.
So it just doesn't make sense to move from Kyle Allen right now at the starting point. He lost a game, and to be honest, it's against a really good defense. One of the, if not the best defense right now statistically in the NFL. They put a ton of pressure with that scary defensive line, and they're underappreciated linebackers that they have. They're not big names, but man, they can ball week in and week out. They're dissecting the offensive plays. They're getting to the ball. They're tackling well. They're doing everything well, and the secondary from that feeds off of that. So. Very tough defense, a lot to overcome there. In Carolina, they pretty much just got punched in the face. And now it's all about how Kyle Allen at quarterback, how is he going to respond? I think it would be a terrible decision if they decide to, now that Cam is getting healthy, if they just throw him back in the starting lineup. When all along, since Cam's absence, Kyle Allen has not only taken this team and has kind of taking the reins and becoming that managing quarterback, but we've seen him evolve every single week, becoming that starting caliber type of quarterback. And he's won games and put up points. So I don't know why you would go from that.
Yeah, and then another game that surprised me here, too, was Philadelphia, how they just got shelled by the Philadelphia Eagles, the Buffalo Bills here. Yeah. And I thought that was going to be a chance for Buffalo to show that they are a playoff contender, and the talk was who can contend with the New England Patriots, and maybe, seeing they played a tougher game with them earlier on this season. And if it wasn't for Josh Allen getting injured in that game, they possibly could have won that that one. So the fact that they end up getting beat by Philadelphia, which people, again, you got to remember that Philadelphia is a pretty good team as well. They've
Right.
been kind of just playing underwhelmingly as well here. But Buffalo, was a bit of a surprise here that they didn't put up a bigger effort here in this week too as well. But again, it's only a game. Pick yourself up, move on, and they've got a lot of football left over to contend here.
Yeah, and they were home. So a lot of people, you and me included, thought that, okay, this is set up for Buffalo to win. We've seen the Eagles struggle. We've seen that they got a banged-up receiving core, not to mention their defense hasn't been playing that great against the pass. We just thought that maybe Josh Allen would be able to manage the game, to get the ball to John Brown, to get the ball to Cole Beasley and company, and move the ball and put up points. And with the Buffalo Bills defense, quite honestly, I thought they were going to shut down the Eagles offense. I didn't think they were going to be able to run the ball as well as they did against that Buffalo defense. Didn't think they were going to be able to pass the ball as well as they did against that defense. And this is why they play the game. You know what I mean? So, the Eagles, they executed when they needed to execute. The Bills failed to take care of business on the offensive side and defensive side, and that's why you see the Eagles came out on top.
Yeah, they definitely. Yeah, it was an interesting week. We did pretty well in our picks, so we'll get that in a little bit too in our segment. So, thank you everybody for joining us for our show today. This is our third annual Halloween show. For the night. We decided to go with a little different. Joe does the devil horns, and I get something different here. But we decided to do a Star Wars theme here for everybody tonight, and we're having a lot of fun. So you guys can go bring in the comments, the questions, whatever you want to do. Talk about trades, whatever trades you thought were going to happen, maybe didn't, and ones that you did happen, and what your thought is on those as well. And also, if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And what else, Joe? What do we got here?
Yeah, we're also on Twitter. If you want to try to stay up to date with all the latest content from the NFL, we do our best to try to help you out there. You can follow us on Twitter at FB_no. And just like what Jim was saying, YouTube, we are on Facebook. We do stream on Facebook as well. So if you don't do YouTube, which I think everybody pretty much does YouTube, but go ahead. You can go ahead and follow us on the Football on the No Show group. And YouTube. And don't be shy. Don't be shy. If you guys want to say anything, comment, ask questions, as long as it's football related, we're down. So there's a lot of things that have happened in the past week. I know some of you know-it-alls out there maybe want to get something off your chest. Maybe you're upset that one of your teams did not pull off a trade that you thought that they should pull off. Go ahead in the comments and let us know what you think they should have traded for, or maybe they should have got rid of somebody on your roster. And don't hesitate, too, for fantasy football questions. We're all about it.
All right. Yeah, and also one of the big things that's going all over the airwaves right now is, hey, look, there's Cody Cook is in the house, Joe.
What's going on,
Cook
Cody?
Joins us tonight. Check that out.
We have a Cody sighting.
Yeah, he said, looking fancy. Fire. May the football knowledge be with you. Excellent. Thank you, Cody, for joining in with us tonight. Jamal Adams, he went and spoke with Douglas about not, getting traded. Listen, I love the team. I want to be here. I'm a Jet, and this and just please don't put me out there to trade.
Right.
And then when trade time deadline comes up, and Robbie Anderson's on the line, Le'Veon Bell, and then Jamal Adams is out there again, is talking, and it was thinking that there was going to be a deal done with the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys came calling and knocking to try and get him, and I was about to lose my mind too. If the Dallas Cowboys got him, I'm like, all right, now they can make a push for the Super Bowl and stuff here, because oh my goodness, if that defense gets any better too with at the end, I was going to lose my mind, being a Giants fan and all. But then again, it doesn't happen. He still goes all over Twitter again. He's on the social media. He's still the same guy too that had he blocked the account for the Jets, I think, for his thing too, before earlier on.
Yes.
And now he's flipping out and says that they did him dirty and everything and stuff. And what's your take on that with the whole Jamal Adams here being hurt about
100%.
possibly going out there?
I'm on Jamal Adams' side here. I mean, you can't, as a GM for the Jets, your best player in Jamal Adams, and you go ahead and dangle him like fruit out there for teams to maybe come calling. I'm sorry. I have a problem with that, because isn't this team supposed to keep building every single year and getting better? That's what most teams are trying to do right now. So you don't get rid of your prized commodities and try to just, we're just going to stack draft picks and then draft more players and hope they pan out when we have a blue chip type player in our back pocket right now. It just doesn't make any sense. So to attempt to even listen to offers for the best player on the roster, I mean, you can argue Le'Veon Bell, but production-wise, he isn't doing anything. But Jamal Adams, I mean, great talent, a super young player who gives his all day in and day out. Just a phenomenal safety in the league, one of the best safeties in the league. And you go ahead and you attempt to maybe even just listen to offers. Jamal Adams has a right to be upset because he wants to stay in New York. He wants to help build this franchise up to being a competitive franchise to maybe push someday into the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And you can't do that by getting rid of your big blue chip players. So now you see the GM kind of recant those comments and saying, oh, no, he was never on the trade block. Oh, no, he was never a thought to be traded away. However, Dallas Cowboys, and this is Jamal Adams has confirmed that the Cowboys were in talks with the Jets. Mm-hmm. He has to be because his agent is involved. Mm-hmm. He's involved. And they couldn't agree on compensation because Jets wanted a lot, for one. And for two, my question to the Cowboys is like, even if they were to pull that off, even if, you got a lot of mouths to feed in Dallas. Your contracts are starting to expire down there in Dallas, especially on the defensive side of the ball. How are you going to afford to keep Jamal Adams and other guys like Jalen Smith? I don't think you can. Mm-hmm. So I think it's almost a good thing for the Cowboys that they couldn't agree on compensation, because then we would have gotten into all of that later on down the road that we spoke of many times. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of look at it as if the Cowboys if the Cowboys first initiated contact and they called them up and said, "Hey, listen, man, we're interested in Jamal Adams. You know, what are you guys thinking?" And they said, "Well, maybe we told them that we wouldn't, but what are you offering?" You know what I mean? I think if they were listening to offers, I don't think that's that bad. They did them dirty. I think if they initiated and made it happen, I mean, think it's tough.
Here's why I stand. If you're a player and you're a Pro Bowl player like he is, he's a phenomenal player. Mm-hmm. Those guys, you don't even listen to offers. Mm-hmm. You just tell them, "No, sorry, we're not interested," and you move on. The Jets were interested in moving him. That's why they were listening. Mm-hmm. And if you're interested in listening, guess what? This marriage that they have, Jamal Adams and the Jets, now has been hindered to the point where it's going to end up in an ugly divorce. It's really what's going to happen, is because Jamal Adams, as a player, as a person, is not going to forget that this happened. Mm-hmm. They were willing to deal him, even though they're a franchise still trying to build. Like, we all know that the Jets defense has a good defense. Right. It's just maybe they're missing a piece here and a piece there. Now you're talking about just dismantling this altogether and getting rid of all your best pieces just to get some draft picks. Mm-hmm. They're proven commodities that they have, so it doesn't make sense to tear down what you have built as a foundation and just to redraft other players.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's tough for me. I mean, it is a business, and that is what goes down. And also, you got to think, too, that Joe Douglas, it wasn't exactly his guy that he drafted in there. He is the new GM going in there and trying to manage these guys. Jamal Adams has shown he's got a lot of emotions going, sort of like an Odell. Could he be a distraction? Could he be a problem down the line?
I don't think he has that kind of emotions.
As far as a business sense, if they got calls, I mean, it's not horrible. I could see your point as if you look at it, say, as like a relationship. Say all of a sudden you say, I'm married or I have a girlfriend, but all of a sudden somebody calls you and say, "Hey, what are you doing? You want to go out or something like that somewhere and have a drink?" And you're like, "I don't know. What are you talking? A drink? Where are you thinking about going?"
Problem is
then
Joe
that could
Douglas.
be a problem.
The biggest problem is Joe Douglas, because he listened to offers. Yeah, it's not his guy, but you got to be absolutely brain dead as a GM to even listen to offers for potentially for Jamal Adams. You know what I mean? Robbie Anderson was another name that was brought up, and a lot of fans, some were against it, but some were for it because they haven't seen the explosiveness like they do week in and week out from him. But that could also be attributed to the offense. You know, that hasn't been that explosive of an offense. Adam Gase, bringing Le'Veon Bell in and all that, it just hasn't panned out what Jet fans and maybe some others were looking to see, like, maybe this team could take a step forward. And we're just not seeing it. It's not happening fast enough for a lot of people. So I think if they want to I mean, now that they've kind of hurt those relationships with Jamal Adams,
It's tough
even
now. Now
Robbie
they gotta
Anderson.
move on further with that.
Robbie Anderson never got dealt. So how does he feel? He probably feels along the same lines as Jamal. So now you might even end up with a split locker room now. This is going to hurt your whole entire football team because it's not only those guys that you've affected now. Now it's players in the locker room that have strong friendships and relationship with these players that were potentially going to be traded. Now the Jets team is like, what the you know, why? So there's going to be a lot of questions that'll be going around. There's a lot of emotions that they're going to have to temper along the rest of the season.
Execute Order 66.
That seems like that's what Joe Douglas did right after he got off his conversation here with Jamal Adams.
Yeah, good
but
job.
here you go. But they need offensive line help, and you know who else does? Cody Cook chimes in here and says, as a Giants fan, I personally was hoping to see Solder get moved to the Browns. Haven't liked him for a while. He's overpaid and has never been worth the money and continues to struggle just about every week. And I agree with that as well. I mean, I didn't like either the move too. Joe had brought up again, he was like probably the second best lineman that
He
was
was the
available
fallback
at
guy.
one point
Yeah,
there,
he was-
so he had to come in here. So you know, and I don't like that the amount that you paid him. I don't think you really exactly need to do that, but we have what we have now, and yeah, you know that's the problem though. People around the league have seen what he's done too as well, or hasn't done. So I mean, the asking price. I mean, what are you going to get for him anyway? Some of the teams were like, I don't know, we don't
gonna
really
get-
need somebody that badly.
Right.
It was bad enough for the Cleveland Browns, but they were still on the Trent Williams thing. Looked like it might happen, get a deal done, and the Redskins just squashing that whole thing.
Here's the thing
with
with the Giants and Nate Solder. There was no way they were going to be able to move him because of that salary that they paid
once
him.
they sign it, they're
And-
stuck.
And here's the thing: is yes, he was the backup plan to Norwell, who is with the Jaguars right now. He chose Jacksonville. Giants couldn't get him. They tried their best to try to get Andrew Norwell to come up to New York. He decided to stay in Florida. And Nate Solder was the next, in the Giants' eyes, he was the next best lineman that they could get. Now, what ended up happening is because of the contract they gave him, they got desperate. They said, okay, we missed out on Norwell. Now let's put in a huge bid we got to make sure we get Solder. So they just overpaid him to come to New York. And now we're seeing, and what they want, quite honestly, they wanted a left tackle, and Nate Solder is not that. We've seen him struggle in New England, and from time to time, he's had bright spots and he's had very low spots, performances. So the Giants were taking a risk, rolling the dice. It didn't pan out. He should be playing on the right side from day one, and they should have drafted a left tackle. But unfortunately, they didn't go that route.
Yes, I mean, if you got any more questions out there about that, we'll definitely hear that. And yeah, I understand that as well. I mean, I would have liked to see a few people moved there along with the Giants, but we're stuck with what we have now. We've already moved on from Eli Manning, and the rest is the rest of the season. We'll see where it lies. And once they made the switch, for me, it seemed like that we were settling for 6 and 10 or whatever we can get. I mean, it didn't matter at that point. So, I mean, what's the point of trying to move for somebody now, and make something happen when you can just do it probably at the end of the season? I mean, try and get a pick quick before the draft. But, I mean, again, you don't have a lot of value there. That's why your team is performing so badly.
If you're talking about Nate Solder, is that what you're talking about? Not moving him? Well, that's why it didn't happen because, you would have gotten a 7th-round pick for him. And it's just a money drop. It's a money, they're just trying to get rid of his salary cap. So no team on earth was going to take that. Even the Cleveland Browns, who were being rumored that they might be interested, I think that they were like, well, if we're going to take on a big contract, it's going to be Trent Williams. And that's what they were going all in on Trent Williams. And just like you mentioned, unfortunately, the Redskins in the end decided not to. And that is a Bruce Allen move. The GM for the Redskins, that's what he does. He takes spite out of players that want out, and he refused to trade them. He listened to offers, but unless he was going to be blown away, they weren't going to move him.
All right, and that's going to lead us to our segment here that we call the In-to-Know Fact of the Day. I've got a great fact for us here, Joe, today. It's going to be really exciting here. Something people might like it, especially up here in the Northeast. All right, we've got the fact is the New England Patriots were almost known as the BS Patriots. How about that? They started out as the Boston Patriots, but once they moved to their current home in Foxborough, the owner wanted to a name more representative of the region. He wanted to change it to the Bay State Patriots. I forgot to write that in there. He wanted to
Perfect.
change it to the Bay State Patriots.
Perfect.
Yeah, but however, the NFL didn't like that idea because they weren't fond of the initials being BS Patriots, which I think a lot of
fitting.
people would have.
It's fitting.
Yes. So I mean,
Boom, shakalaka.
maybe that's what it stood for. Boom shakalaka. We don't know, but it's a Bay State. It's supposed to be Bay State Patriots. Didn't like that they're going to be BS Patriots. So the NFL shut it down. So how about that? There's our fact of the day, and we've got Mike Tackett in the house tonight.
There he is. There
He
he
joins
is.
us. Happy Halloween. Happy Haunted Hump Day. Look at that, Mike Tackett
I like
bringing
it.
ghouls. Yes, I like it. All right, now that we're at the halfway point of the season, who has been your guys' trick or treat teams? Oh, he's already into the trick or treat mood. I love this. Here we go. We're on this. This is great. All right, that'll bring it right into it right after this segment. I love it. All right, for me, the Rams have been the biggest trick after going to the Super Bowl last year and signing Goff to a $134 million contract. Only 11 TDs, 7 INTs so far, and third in their division. While the Andrew not-so-luckless Colts have been the biggest treat, signing... Yeah, I was right. Shining under Jacoby Brissett. That was going to be one of my points possibly in Trick or Treat, but I left that one away just because I didn't want so many. But that is a great one, Mike. We
Yeah,
appreciate you
definitely.
definitely on that one.
Thank you, Mike, for the comment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Cody as well. Thank
and
you very
Cody,
much.
definitely, yeah. But yeah, that's a great thing because I was thinking the same thing with these Rams. What have we seen so far with the Rams? They have played lackluster and in Goff, I don't think it's exactly his fault. I think some of it is game management. And you've seen them kind of scatter, I thought, in desperation. That might be a bad word for it all. But see, they're making moves. And even at the trade deadline, they moved Aqib Talib. They're just constantly trying to move and fix things. And it seems like they're really trying to stay at that level right now because I think that the window's kind of short for this team. They're trying to get back to the Super Bowl while they can, and before it all comes to shambles here.
Yeah, see, I don't think the window is closing in as much as some people think because they've managed to do a good job with contracts and how they've negotiated them over for the next 3-4 years. However, what they are doing is, they keep to leave, they move on from him, but who wouldn't move on from a 33-year-old corner when you can? So they moved on from him. They get rid of that salary. That's going to save them some money for next year. And they're making small moves this year. They made all their big moves in the past 2 seasons. Now, this year, you saw them go a little bit smaller. They brought in Kenny Young from the Baltimore Ravens to help out at linebacker, something that they needed more. They move on from Talib, but no one really knows when he's going to come back. No one even knows he's going to come back this year. He's supposed to. But now that you've been traded to the Miami Dolphins, you might as well say, I don't think I can make it.
Yeah.
But the Rams, yes, they have been a disappointing team, and I don't think it's that far down the road where they could be that winning team. I think there's been a couple of mistakes roster-wise. Babying Todd Gurley all season. That's one. To put Todd Gurley on a limited pitch count for, not a better term, but because they've limited his snaps, this offense isn't running as smoothly as it once did. Now, when you put guys like Darrell Henderson back there and you put guys like Malcolm Brown back there, I'm sorry, but if I'm a defense looking at, these guys are going to carry the rock the majority of the time, I'm not really scared of them. They're no names. You know what I mean? So unless they prove themselves to be something else, defenses aren't scared of the run game. Guess what? That makes your team one-dimensional. And that is kind of where it's playing into. I think they need to – listen, I understand they're trying to protect Todd Gurley for the potential playoffs, but now that they're having such a bad season, you might as well take the reins off them and let them go. Let them run because – that's how you got to the playoffs and the Super Bowl last year, is by letting Todd Gurley run, let him catch the ball, let him be that big weapon in the backfield that he was. That's one. Number two, their offensive line has altered a tiny bit, and it's just enough to make that offensive line take a step down a little bit. We've seen Jeremy Noteboom, who got injured. He's done for the season. They brought in somebody else to try to fill that role. But this offensive line isn't the same as it was last year. And that's hurting them as well. So poor offensive line play and not given a full go on Todd Gurley. That to me is the reason why this offense is struggling. Now that's offensive side. Defensively, now that they've traded Marcus Peters away, he didn't fit the scheme, got traded away. Aqib Talib, 33-year-old, you trade him away. You did get, in return, you ended up trading for Jalen Ramsey. Great trade, but now who's on the opposite side of him at this point? You know, so maybe they got a young guy who's coming up through the ranks, and maybe he's playing decent, but it's almost like now they have to make slight adjustments, a lot of adjustments on offense, and let the defense take care of itself with Wade Phillips at the helm. And then I think maybe you might see a small improvement with this Rams team. Maybe they could get back into the hunt.
And I agree with you here. I was going to say the same thing here. What led them to the Super Bowl and the way they've been performing was Todd Gurley in the running.
Right.
And this year they are ranked only 21st, only getting 97 yards in a game.
Yeah.
I mean, on average. So, I mean, that's the difference here. I mean, yes, they're going to have their offense, what they do around the with the jet sweeps and here and there. But if nobody's
It's a good
afraid
offense.
that you're going to run it at all with Todd Gurley or get him
Right.
involved, then
Right.
they just tee up on your thing,
Right.
whoever you're passing it to. And that's where Jared Goff is getting pressured, leads to interceptions, less touchdowns, a lot more 3-and-outs, and that's where they're sitting right now.
Yeah, and it's when you got
Makes it
guys
tougher on the defense
right?
as
When
well.
when you're giving the rock more to Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson, I'm sorry, like no teams are scared of them, none. So they're going to come down hard. They're going to stuff them, and then they're going to make you be one-dimensional, and that's what they've done so far. But real quick, my trick team would be the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have been a huge disappointment for me, my opinion. I expected this team to come in with all these weapons that they had. Mohamed Sanu at the time. They had Julio Jones. They had Calvin Ridley. They got Devontae Freeman back, finally healthy. I thought, and Austin Hooper, don't forget about him at tight end. He's having a great season. I thought with all those weapons, with Matt Ryan back, with the whole gang back on offense, I thought they were going to tear the league up offensively and rack up a ton of points. And then defensively, they were so banged up last year, right up the middle of the field. They were missing Deion Jones at middle linebacker. They were missing their Pro Bowl D tackle and Grady Jarrett. They were missing Keanu Neal at safety position. They were also missing one of their corners who isn't there anymore. I think it was Ricardo Allen. Also was hurt. Desmond Trufant was also hurt last year. So basically, the majority of their defense, starting defense, was done, was hurt, out for the year. Now coming back completely healthy, I thought their defense was going to be even better. And wow. It's taken a turn for the worse. You know, Dan Quinn, sorry, the bye week has come and gone. And why hasn't he been fired? I don't understand that. It's time to move on. It's time to go look for a new head coaching, new head coach and try to kind of bring this team back together and bring them back to prominence.
And Cody chimes in on his trick team here. The Cleveland Browns, a team that was hyped up all offseason, and even people saying that they could be Super Bowl contenders, and they aren't even on pace to get close to the playoffs so far. Treat would be the San Francisco 49ers. I expected this team to be a decent, maybe sneak into the wild card spot, but this team's defense has been insane, and their running game is beyond hard to stop with all the talent they have. The 49ers have a legit shot at a Super Bowl as long as everyone on that team can stay healthy, and that obviously, yes,
right,
is an obvious thing here too as well with that team.
Definitely.
And yeah, I mean, how exciting would that be? Again,
What's
I brought
your
it up
treat
last
team?
year.
What's your
My
treat
treat
team?
team? I didn't know. I didn't really come up with
It
one.
could
I
be
don't
the
think I had
49ers.
one.
We do
Yeah.
do agree with Cody on
I
that.
thought
but
they were going to be okay. I wasn't sure because
Right.
Jimmy G hadn't been back. Didn't look good in the preseason, so I was going to feel it out here. So
I'll say this though too, is that for me, my treat team is the Colts. I thought that this team was going to do some damage this year, whether they were with luck and without luck. I know a lot of people kind of jumped off the bandwagon as soon as they heard the news that Andrew Luck was retiring, and it was a shock. I mean, a shock heard across the NFL spectrum. Everybody was shocked. But I was like, okay, all right, Luck isn't going to be there, but wait a second. They got a backup. His name's Jacoby Brissett. He's very efficient. He's a good quarterback. And last time he did a lot with nothing. No, they had no receivers when last time he started when Luck was out, and their offensive line was atrocious. Now they got one of the best offensive lines, plenty of weapons. I mean, what's not to like about this team? They're a young team that's on the come up, and they're proving a lot of doubters wrong right now.
Maybe my treat team would possibly be the oh man, what was I thinking of it? Oh, I think Latavius Murray making his way to the top. Just wait on it. Brandon D'Angelo comes in here and says that Latavius Murray on his way up. Check that out.
Latavius Murray's always been a good running back, though. For me, he's not on his way to the top of the list. Here's the problem with Latavius is that he hasn't been truly given a featured role on a team except for when he was with the Raiders when he first started his career. That's when he was a starting running back. He showed a lot of promise. He did very well. And then now he's on the free agent train. You know, he went to this team. Now he was with the Vikings. Now he's with the Saints.
Yep.
And every time the guy gets an opportunity, he makes the most of it. He's a very physical back. He can play.
Yeah,
So
that's why they picked him up.
right, and it worked out.
Yeah.
And he paid huge dividends because as soon as Kamara got hurt,
yeah.
he took over and they didn't miss a beat. So, Latavius Murray's a really legit running back.
I might go with the Green Bay Packers being my treat in a sense because I already knew like when we looked at them, the defense
we were
was going to be
unsure.
good.
We
but
were
again,
unsure,
and unsure about the offense. How was it going to work? Aaron Rodgers going to meld with LaFleur.
Right.
Not sure, but again, I guess when it all comes down to it, it's just plain and simple. Is it's Aaron freaking Rodgers, right? I guess that's the answer for everything, right? Brandon D'Angelo says very true. Here we go. So we're talking about it. We're getting all into it already. So I'm just going to head it right into it. We're going to do our trick or treat segment. We're just going to round off some statements here. All right, here we go. Sorry, gotta get the video going here. But we have random statements, and we're going to ask Joe first and ask you guys too as well whether you think that it is, yes, you agree, like that's a treat or trick. You know, and it's probably not going to happen. So here we go. Let's start off with our first one here, trick or treat. The Patriots will get a loss before the Dolphins get a win. Now, Joe, is this a trick? You think the Dolphins will get a win here pretty soon here, and the Patriots, before the Patriots stay undefeated, or you think the Patriots might get that loss, and the Dolphins still playing a tank for Tua or whoever they might be getting here?
Yeah, and that's the thing is the NFL's unpredictable for one thing, that's for sure. I mean, we've seen. So far, we're only halfway through the year, and we've seen a lot of surprise teams upsetting another team. But this question, so the Patriots will get their first loss before
the Dolphins.
get a win.
Yes, that's tough.
Hey, you know what? I haven't bet against the Patriots yet, and I'm not going to do it now. So I think the Patriots will not get their first loss before the Patriots get a win. I think the Dolphins will get a win, but it's going to be tough. I think the Patriots are still going to be winless by the time.
It is pointless to resist, my son.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So all right. For me, trick or treat. Patriots get a loss before the Dolphins get a win. I think. Man, it's tough because the Patriots still have it fairly easy here along the way here. They
got an easy schedule too.
They do get to face Buffalo again, but we've seen the Jets play them twice, and the second time was an absolute shamble here. But they also play a few other tough ones. So I'd say maybe even. Yes, I think I might agree with you that it is a trick here because the Dolphins have been playing some teams tough. It did seem like last week, though, that they got the lead, but then it seemed like, again, like they were trying to find unique ways to lose that game to make it look like they were still trying, like the all-out blitzes and leaving nobody over the top. I don't know. It's tough, though. It's tough to say that some guys are even tanking.
When you're a winless team, you got nothing to lose. So they were trying to throw everything they could at a young quarterback. The first time he started with the Pittsburgh, or not first time, but first time he's been given pretty much, he's got the starting duties every single week now because of Big Ben's injury. They were throwing everything but the kitchen sink at the kid, and they were trying to capitalize on it. Yes, they took a 14-0 lead early in that game. I was surprised. I was watching the game like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
The Steelers' defense, I thought that they gave up a lot of plays, and I was like, could this be the upset of the week? I mean,
who knows?
I was getting a little
It was
worried.
tough
there.
though, because again, we were looking at that game. We are like, man, this, there's not much to look forward to here. Because
No.
I mean, not that Mason Rudolph has been playing absolutely poorly,
But you remember,
just it's
his-
not with the team that used to be.
It's
with
Mason.
the injuries.
It's Mason Rudolph's first time back from his injury, so there was a little bit of rust there.
Yeah.
I think next week you're going to see a little bit more polished Rudolph that we saw earlier in the year, and the Steelers' offense will get better as he gets back.
And Cody says treat. He's agreeing with it. He says treat. The Dolphins are tanking 100%. They showed that they could have beaten the Steelers, then all out blitzed on 3rd and 20. Just an ugly sight. Plus, I think the Ravens have a real shot of handling them for a loss this week. Yeah, I mean, it could be,
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
There you go. It could be that. But, yeah, that's what I mean. They play some
Right.
tougher teams. But I also see the Patriots game planning to bring the rush on the outsides and then blitz up the middle here. So then what's he going to do? He can't run to the outside, so he's forced to throw. But you got guys coming up the middle in their face. It's going to be tough for Lamar Jackson there to get something done. So
Here's
we'll
the thing:
see what happens.
This actually might end up panning out better for Baltimore because what they're known for is the run game. LaMarcus, Jackson can run the ball. They're running back. What's his name? Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram, yeah.
Thanks, Jim.
Sorry. I was a little late, too.
Mark Ingram. So they're a very physical offense. They like to run the ball in various ways, and they got to get the ball out quick. So I think this could pan out really well for Baltimore because if Patriots do, and when they decide to bring the rush, the blitz, which they have been doing quite often now, all they got to do is get Mark Ingram out in the flat. They got to get a tight end to do a crossing or drag route, anything like that, a slant, and just dump it right over the rush. And I think they could take care of that defense and its aggressiveness.
All right, let's get to our next one here. Trick or treat. The Browns are the biggest disappointment this year. We talked about this a little bit here when we were just bringing up everybody's trick team and treat team. Cody, I think, already said he pretty much agrees with this here. So this is a treat for him. But the Browns are the biggest disappointment this year.
I'm going to say trick because, to be honest, the Browns, yes, there was a lot of hype around this team. We've seen them they added OBJ. There was like this whole hysteria. They also added Kareem Hunt, who's due to come back this or next week from his suspension. So there was a lot to like about this team, and you're like, wow, this team should really take off. However, the Browns historically have been a losing team. Yes, they have showed promise last year, but last year they also had a better offensive line. This year, a worse offensive line, and it's showing. That's why everyone's kind of pointing the finger at Baker and saying, hey, he's terrible. He's not a good quarterback. He has no protection either. So I don't know how good you can be even with all those weapons. So I feel like everybody hopped on the hype train, me included. I'm the first to admit it. I hopped on the hype train. I'm like, wow, they got a lot of weapons. They got a great defense. I said going hand in hand, they're going to win a lot of games. It didn't happen because now that we've seen what kind of product they have for an offensive line, it's worse than what the Giants have. It's absolutely, absolutely terrible. And not the Giants this year. I'm saying Giants last year. That's how bad it is. They just can't block, can't pass block, can't run block. They can't do anything right. So now seeing that, to me, they're not really they're not living up to the hype, so to speak.
Right.
So for me, they're not that kind of great team that everybody thought they were. It's not.
But they're still not your biggest.
They're not my biggest disappointment. I'm sorry. Biggest disappointment is Atlanta Falcons by far in my eyes. I thought with them getting healthy across defensively and offensively, I thought, what's not to like about this team? They were a playoff team the last time they were healthy with the same players. The only difference is they got Dirk Cutter at offensive coordinator, and that, to me, is really where they're struggling. They're struggling on offense with all those weapons and still not able to rack up points. Come on. And then defensively with Dan Quinn,
Dan Quinn,
you got to be kidding me, Dan. What are you
took
doing?
over,
You took over the playbook, and your sole job as head coach when you were hired there was to make that defense scary, make it intimidating, week in and week out, stop people from scoring, Give the ball more times to your offense so they can rack up more points. Guess what? You're failing in all categories. Your offense is terrible with healthy players. Your defense is terrible with healthy players. Guess what, buddy? It's your ass. Time to get out of there.
You know what's sad, too, though, I noticed, is when Matt Schaub was in there, he started to spread the ball around, and they were actually moving it a little bit. I mean, how scary is that now? Is there an issue here with Matt Ryan, spreading the ball out to some people and getting the offense going? Has he been underwhelmingly performing, too, especially for the top dollars that they're paying him, on top of Devontae Freeman, too, as well, to be the sole back?
Here's the thing that I'll say about that is Matt Schaub, he knows the playbook, but they just wanted to be game manager. So, yeah, he racked up stats like a starter, but he didn't really challenge like all the time down the field or anything like that. They wanted him to not make mistakes, just take what the defense is giving you, 5, 10 yards, 15, whatever have you, and it panned out. Now, maybe if Dirk Cutter had that same mindset even with Matt Ryan there, maybe they'd be winning some games because it seems like he changed the way he called the game because Schaub was in there versus Ryan. How about with a better quarterback like Matt Ryan, how about you call the same kind of game plan? Might get some good results. So we'll have to wait and see how that all shakes out. Matt Ryan is due to come back relatively soon.
All right, so you're shutting it down. You're saying they are not. You are tricking that one.
I'm tricking.
And so let's move on to our next one. In 2020, Mariota and Winston will be on different teams. Trick or treat?
I'm saying treat. I think they're both on their way out. And here's the thing. I've stuck up for Mariota in the past. And this year alone, I thought, okay, the biggest problem for Mariota for any quarterback is inconsistency. You get another coordinator, it's a new offense you got to learn again. You get another head coach, it's a new staff, new offense you got to learn again. And Winston and Mariota have both struggled because I think more Mariota than Winston. But they've struggled because it's been a constant revolving door of new coaches, new ideas, new X's and O's game plans. So Mariota, it sucks, but this is the nature of the beast in the NFL. You have to be able to produce. Now, this is his second year or third year in this offense.
This would be it's similar to the same offense that he had with Matt LaFleur, but I mean it would be. Yeah,
it's a different coordinator, so it's going to be called differently.
Yeah.
But still, it should be the same kind of offense.
That's the difference maker with Mariota here, because like you said, you had the revolving door and stuff, but you've been in this for a little bit here, and almost to where they tried to tailor things to your ability, and it still doesn't work out.
But that's not even the case. Here's the thing: is Mariota, you don't have to tailor anything to him. He can be a pocket quarterback. He's proven that before. He can be the mobile guy that you want to be, throw on the run. He can do all those things. It comes down to execution and how you call an offense for him to succeed. It's not working out in Tennessee because, quite frankly, yes, this is his second year in this offense, but every other year it seems like there's somebody new there. And just having 2 seasons, I'm sorry, you can't say, oh, well, he's just a terrible player. I think if he was if he had a more concrete situation and he was there for 3-4 years, you would see the fruits of that progress and for him to get a little bit better. But because of the whole revolving door thing, and this is his second year in this offense, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to just take a huge step forward all of a sudden after 1 year of learning. You got another new offensive coordinator. Yes, it's a similar offense, but he may call it differently. He may have a few different wrinkles in the offense altogether. So, but all in all, Mariota, I think it's his time to move on from Tennessee. And now that Tennessee's gotten a small glimpse of what Ryan Tannehill can do in this offense, he's way more efficient. He can fit it into tighter windows than Mariota. And they've seen a lot to like on the football field and on the game tape to the point where they're like, well, maybe we should just move on with Tannehill from this point on. And then as far as Jameis Winston goes, listen, writing was on the wall for Jameis Winston years ago. I know a lot of Tampa Bay fans don't want to admit it. Gaz, you're one of them. And I know he's had his fair share of support from
to resist, my son.
From a lot of players. It's pointless. it's pointless to resist. But Jameis Winston, you're starting to really mess me up in what I'm trying to do here. But Jameis Winston, he's made a lot of mistakes, and it goes back to his college days. Wasn't the best decision maker even in college, and now it's all everybody's able to see on the national stage in the NFL. So Bruce Arians, he was hired this year to come in and try to help hold his hand and try to get him to be a better quarterback. Maybe not right away, but maybe later in the season. We're halfway through it. I'm not seeing a different Jameis. I'm seeing the same guy that's always been there. Guy that makes mistakes, guy that turns the ball over. He just doesn't get it done. And he's another quarterback that I definitely could see now. And here's the thing: is it's the end of his contract's done.
Yeah. Yep.
So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have to make the decision. Hopefully they make the right decision and move on from him and maybe go in the draft and draft their next successor.
Yeah, I agree with you here, too, as well, with that whole point here. In 2020, Mariota and Winston will be on different teams because both their contracts are up, and they should, both of those teams, pay attention to what happened with Jacksonville, what happened with Blake Bortles. When his contract was up, they're like, well, we'll re-sign him to another deal and stuff. Because we did make it to the AFC Championship game, and then the following year did squat. He played horrible and stuff, and now they've moved on to the position that they're in now as well. And yeah, I mean, I disagree with you a little bit on the Mariota thing again, because I just don't think he has it all together. I mean, yes, he's very athletic. It's just like in a sense, like you think Cam Newton, I don't think is complete as a quarterback and can do it all. He's a great athlete. He can make plays with his legs, and he can make some of the throws, but not the throws that you need to make under pressure and to get it done in the NFL, because you could see it with the turnovers that he has. He's not seeing some disguises that the defenses are throwing at him.
That comes down to coaching.
And I know I hear you there too as well, but I mean you can only have so many coaches to try and figure somebody out. If they can't, there could also be a problem with the guy. And Jameis Winston, same thing. You can bring other coaches there too and try and teach them how to hold on to the ball. But if he goes out and leaves the ball hanging out there and still gets sacked and everything, then it's not sinking in, So he's still being careless with the football.
Yeah, I see what you're saying,
and
but
making mistakes.
Mariota to me is he's way different than Winston. He's not the same guy. Winston is.
Oh, they're not the same quarterback at all. I understand that.
But Mariota shows more promise than Winston will ever show. Mariota, to me, I've seen him play and make tight throws. I've seen him be able to make all the throws. I've seen him be a pocket quarterback for a whole entire game before and throw for 300-plus yards and 4 touchdown passes. So I've seen evidence of him. Yeah, it's not as consistent, but I've seen him be able to make the plays that he's expected to make. It just needs to happen more consistently than not. And because of the changing of the guard in terms of offensive staff, and also early on in his career, he didn't have any weapons either.
No,
so it's almost like he's a decent player. It just comes down to he needs to find the right home. And in Tennessee, his tenure has just kind of run out at this point. And ownership and the GM are just tired of waiting to see when he'll come around for them. So he's going to move on, and he'll go to a different team. He's probably most likely going to start off as a backup somewhere. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. Maybe the Miami Dolphins will pick him up or something because they're not sure who their next starter is either.
All right, so let's move on to our next one, our trick or treat. We're both treating that one. And we got Leonard Williams to the Giants. Was a great trade here, Joe. Is it a trick or is it a treat here? It's
you know what? Here's the thing. It's a treat because it's a great trade for the Giants, who need more players on that defense to really kind of give it a jump start. I mean, we've seen the Giants early on in the season kind of struggle with their defensive backs, and quite honestly, me and Jim have both thought that Janoris Jack Rabbit, he's at the end of his career, so he's a little slower than what he used to be. It's time. I thought he would be a guy that the Giants would try to trade, and that never happened. But give chances to their younger corners. We've seen DeAndre Baker, like he struggled here and there, but you could see he's slowly developing as we get farther into the season, and this is what's going to happen with any kind of rookie. You're going to start to see glimpses of them being able to make plays, but it's just not all there yet. So with Leonard Williams, it's a treat for me because compensation, they only give up a 3rd and a 5th round pick for a top 10 first round pick who creates havoc in the backfield. He stops the run. He can also rush the quarterback. Here's the interesting thing, though. As Leonard Williams is coming from a 4-3 defense, now going to a 3-4 defense, he's going to be a D-end. So, you have Dalvin Tomlinson, who's kind of taken a step forward in his production, and you're going to bring in Leonard Williams. This is going to make your front D-line very dangerous in the 3-4 defense, creating a little bit more pressure, taking on blockers, and freeing up guys like I'm going to forget his linebacker. What's your linebacker? The edge.
Which one?
Off the edge.
Ogletree?
Leonard.
No, not Carter's not in there. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of them right now. They've been injured in and out, so. But yeah, I know what you mean there. Free up some guys there. I don't know about a leap in bounds to make it better. I mean, the one thing I do understand is our best pass rusher has only like 7 rushes or attempts at the quarterback, and I think it was Leonard Williams had something like 14 or something, so he already doubled the production. And like you said, getting a top 10 pick, where the Jets might have seen like maybe he didn't pan out as well as they needed to him right now, or he still had enough value that the Giants needed.
They got rid of him because of salary cap.
Yeah,
they don't want to pay the big
contract.
The
question that is in turn with this statement here is that when the Giants do here, they have the 3rd and the 5th they had to give up here. Now, if they do sign him to an extension before the beginning of next season, right, or by the end of this season, that means that 5th round pick turns into a 4th for the Jets, right? Is that right? The way it goes down?
They have to sign him to a new deal before the new league year
begins. So look forward for that, and that would be part of this this trade too, and then the value it as well. I mean, Joe had talked about it earlier on about possibly maybe the Giants. Let's work out a deal. Let's throw it out there and let it stall a little bit till the next year starts a bit, and then come back to the table so they could bypass that, switching that 5th to a 4th.
Yeah, I mean,
and bring it on here, and we'll see what happens with the contracts here. What kind of money they've got going forward this upcoming season here to get some more free agents and pay Leonard Williams too. So I mean, we'll see moving forward.
They're not going to let him go. They just traded for the guy.
Yeah, they just traded for him.
And even though they didn't give up a lot in compensation, he's still super young. He's still a really good D lineman, and he's definitely going to help this team out. However, going into a 3-4 defense, don't expect him to get 10 sacks this year for you guys, because in a 3-4 defense, he's taking on double teams almost every single down. So that'll make it harder for him to be that more productive guy that you tended to see with the Jets. It's going to be a little bit different now that he's with the Giants in a 3-4.
All right, that brings up our next one here for Trick or Treat. And we have the Detroit Lions are a playoff contender. Yes, they have been playing pretty tough since that Week 1 game against the Arizona Cardinals now. I was like, oh, they had the lead, and then they squandered it and let Arizona come back, and I'm like, oh, these guys just aren't – they're a joke. And then since then, they've kind of showed at times to prove me wrong, and I've looked at some of these games, and I was telling Joe earlier on that it seems like the Detroit Lions try and play to whoever their opponent is. Whatever points the opponent's going to put up, the Detroit Lions could muscle back and throw another, a returning blow to them or a punch. And if this team's going to score 13, they're going to score 17. If this is scoring 27, this team's going to score. He's going to score 30.
Matt Stafford's way
of there.
That's how he racks up all the comeback wins. He just keeps it close.
The issue here, they cannot run the football still, and they're relying on Matt Stafford and his passing game, and it's getting them by. It really is. But this defense has been a surprise, I think, for some people too here, getting it going with this team. And Matt Patricia has found out a nice formula for this team to where they're sneakily kind of staying with their division And this NFC is between basically that division and I'd say the NFC West. They're all tightly fit too, where the Rams still have a shot. The Seahawks are still in it. 49ers obviously have a huge lead in that. But you've got the Vikings and the Packers in this division, to where the Bears now had slipped to where we thought possibly they'd be up towards the top tier, slipping down and they're losing week to week. Where the Lions are making a push, and I looked at the rest of their season, their schedule. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of winnable games here, so this is a tough statement here for me to trick or treat. But just be safe for me, I'm going to say it's a trick. But I would not be surprised if they are in the talks towards the end of the season.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, to me, it's going to be a trick for me as well. Detroit Lions, I am high on them. They've kind of been kind of similar to what you were saying. They've kind of been a team where, like, you see flashes of them being very good, and then you see flashes of them, depending on who they're playing, to, like, kind of play down to their competition. And that, to me, worries me, because if you're not playing to just
good, you should show dominance.
You should dominate opponents that you should be dominating, and if you're not, then you're just not quite there yet. So in terms of playoff contention, to me, it's a trick as well. I think they have to come back in games way too often, more than not. And in the end, I think down the road it's gonna play into the favor of the opponent than them.
All right, we've got a few more here. Our trick or treat, though, the Redskins. They should have traded Trent Williams, Joe. Right? What happened here with the Redskins? Is it a trick or is it a treat here now with the Redskins? I think it's a treat. Yeah, they should have traded him. You know, that's a treat all day for me. You know, I mean, get some kind of compensation. Don't be stubborn and just hold on to him, because he said, obviously, I don't want to play for you guys. I can't stand you. Yes, he has reported now to the team, but he's kept it to the last moment possible that you could get paid for the year. Mm-hmm. So he's there. Now, is he going to step foot on the team again, on the field? Probably not. No. So, I mean, this is what you're stuck with. I mean, why didn't you try to move him? Were you asking way too much here?
Yes.
I heard they were asking still for like a first, I think, still. When he's aging. Yes, he wants get a better deal to be compensated for how well he's played. He is a Pro Bowler. But you got to look at the spectrum here and value what you're trying to do here, especially with a guy. If I told you all of a sudden, here, Joe, we got separate teams. I'm like, here, I got this guy here who he says that he hates me, but here, I'll give you him for a first round. And you're like, no, he hates you. Does he want to play with you? I'll give you a fifth. I'll give you $10. You know what I mean?
Here it is. It's age. I mean, yeah, he is in his mid-30s. He's a Pro Bowl tackle, but he's in his mid-30s. How much longer is he going to play? Teams don't know. The Redskins don't even know. Mm-hmm. He hates the Redskins right now. He doesn't even want to be on the team, but they kept him on the team. For me, this is a treat. Of course they should have traded him. They should have gotten whatever they could, the highest compensation possible, and move on from him, because now not only are they going to have to pay the guy, but here's what makes Trent Williams brilliant. Is yes, he did report back just in time to lock up his contract for the year. Mm-hmm. However, all of a sudden, he failed his physical. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he did. I think he did that on purpose. So now the Redskins are going to be caught with a decision. Now, do you put the guy on IR for the rest of the year because he failed his physical? Or does it, maybe some of the know-it-alls out there could attest to this. Maybe... does that mean if he fails his physical that somehow the Redskins may not have to pay him? I'm not sure about that. You know what I mean? Or is it in his contract where they have to pay him because he reported, even though he failed a physical? I don't know which way it goes, but nonetheless, maybe one of you know-it-alls out there can let us know in the comments. But I'm surprised and shocked. I thought for sure Trent Williams has dug his heels in, said, I'm not playing for you guys anymore. Listen, we've gone halfway through the year, and the guy hasn't reported. Now he has to, shows up, and conveniently fails a physical. So I think that the Redskins are going to get themselves into a pickle on this. I think they're going to not only just not get compensation for the guy, because to be honest, I have to look it up, but I'm not sure if his contract expires this year. I think it's like 2 years from now. His contract
he definitely
expires.
has more time left on it.
So That being said, this is going to be a player that's going to he's going to be a thorn in the Redskins' side right now. He doesn't want to play for the franchise. They refuse to trade him at the deadline. And now you're going to go into the offseason where he's going to hold out yet again. He's not going to want to show up to any OTAs. He's not going to want to show up to any training camp. Obviously, when it starts hitting him in the pocket, maybe he'll show up. But he is pretty. He's pretty
one
dug
more
in.
year left.
He's pretty dug in. He does not want to play for you guys. So,
So there you go. That's that part of Trick or Treat. And so our next part here, we have 2 more left. This is one I know Joe is going to be loving to do here. Here we go. Cam Newton won't start again this season. I know it's a treat for you, but I mean, is it a trick or treat a treat, or is it a trick? Does that even make sense? I don't know, but I know it's for a treat to Cam Newton not play. I think you would just enjoy, which you have been. So here we go. So Cam Newton won't start again this season. What do you think about that, Joe? Trick or treat? Kyle Allen, like I said, been playing good. Last year he got roughed up, but he did play a rough 49ers team who currently is undefeated. So, I mean, it's there. He is healthy now, too. So, I mean, you stick with the hot hand. You
stick with the guy that's winning you games. I mean, Kyle Allen has proven so far up to the halfway point that he deserves to be the starting quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. It's very simple. Cam Newton, yes, he had his successes when he was there. Now he's starting to get banged up. He's starting to get worn down. And when he is the starting QB, this offense has to transform into fitting him instead of the other way around. Kyle Allen's been able to step in, and they've been able to call plays where, quite honestly, Cam Newton's not successful at taking care of business. So Cam Newton, exit, in comes Kyle Allen, and has made this offense very dangerous to contend against. The Niners have kind of snuffed that whole idea, but Niners, best defense. You had to know that the Panthers were going to struggle at some point, and this was that game. The 49ers on defense are incredibly talented, incredibly tough to put points on, and it was just one bad week. So, to me, if the Panthers are smart, they keep Cam Newton, sitting on the bench, and unless Kyle Allen gets hurt, don't put him in. And I'm also shocked that Cam Newton didn't get moved. I thought for sure with the success that Kyle Allen has shown, he's more than apt to take over the quarterback duties from here on out. And Cam Newton, he should have been on his way out to somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Joe, we have a visitor in the house.
Holy smokes!
Once again, it is Swervo Gaming's in the house,
there he
Joe.
is.
Holy moly, Swervo Gaming. He gets another DJ horn. Long time no see. Swervo Gaming is back. He said, "What's up, guys? Haven't been here in a while, but still killing it in fantasy. I'm currently 6-2, I think.
Nice.
That's awesome. Swervo, pleasure having you in here." He goes, "And my team is the Know-It-Alls."
All right. I like it.
Yeah, check it out. All right,
Know-It-Alls
Swervo, it's a
representing.
pleasure having you here from YouTube. Like we said earlier on, we are streaming right now from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter right now, all at the same time. So if you guys, bring in fans too, friends, you want to check us out, tell them, just search on YouTube. If they're not on Facebook, go ahead. If they're on Facebook all the time, you do Facebook, whatever. Twitter, we do news and updates there too, FB_no on Twitter. But there you go, Swervo Gaming from YouTube joins us here.
A blast from the past.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure having him on here. And he's doing 6-2. That's great.
That's
in
awesome.
fantasy. There you go.
Yeah,
he had a
great.
really stacked team. I remember
did.
when
He
he
did.
brought it
He
up.
does.
I'm like, man, that team is lights out.
Yeah.
And with this year, the way teams have been with injuries and stuff and trying to manage, I don't do fantasy anymore, and I feel a lot of angst and holy moly, I feel for everybody who's in fantasy football leagues this year. I mean, I would be freaking the hell out right now. Especially the ones where the worst team gets like the first pick like every week, like the waiver wire, they get the first of the waiver wire. So even
Not
if
every
you want
week.
a guy, it'll happen sometimes. Like Gaz, I guess, keeps stealing guys from Levac somehow because Levac's winning, but Gaz has a worse team. So when Levac goes to put somebody on the waiver wire, Gaz is not maybe first, but always ahead of him and takes his guy. So I mean, that's rough to move
That,
on.
that sounds to me like the commissioner of that league needs to rethink
Boom.
how he has the
you're
waiver wire.
Fired. Take that. Oh man, here we go. And he says, Swervo Gaming says likes the Halloween setup. You got it going nice. Yeah,
brother.
thanks. We work hard trying to get this going every year here. This is our 3rd year in a row doing
is.
it. We decided to dress up in Star Wars this time. I had these costumes laying around and stuff, and I thought it would be a lot of fun to do some Star Wars here for once and keeping the Star Wars theme going a little bit now. So yeah. So it'd be a lot of fun. Let's go to our last one here. We have Trick or Treat we're doing, and this is my last one here. Moving on, Swervo, seeing you join us too. Go, look at some of these here. Tell us what you think, and whether it's a trick or a treat on some of these for you here. We did cover the Patriots will get a loss before the Dolphins get a win. The Browns are the biggest disappointment this year. We were tricking that one. Then 2020, Mariota and Winston will be on different teams. We are treats on that one. Leonard Williams and the Giants was a treat. The Lions are a playoff contender. We made a trick. The Redskins should have traded Trent Williams, and that was a treat. And Cam Newton won't start again this season. I never said my point of view on this, but it's, because Swervo came in, he excited me, right? I was like, Swervo's back. But Cam Newton, I agree here too. Why put him back in? Plus, he's been, like you said, teams face him differently. He gets banged up because the refs allow him to get hit so many times too. He hasn't thrown the ball like he did his MVP year. He's very elusive and can get out here.
He doesn't have the tall receivers that he needs.
And so, I mean, why didn't you trade him? You could have gotten some good value
Yes,
because there's a lot of
there was
teams that need quarterbacks.
There was at least 10 teams that were interested in Cam by the deadline.
There you go. And now finally here for our trick or treat, AJ Green is done in Cincinnati, Joe. You tricked that or you're treating that one here?
I think A.J. Green wants to be done in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, who doesn't want to be done? I think
done?
they want the season to be done
Is
already.
he done? Zach Taylor doesn't want to get rid of him. I mean, so it makes it hard to answer this question because, quite honestly, it's up to the organization. They have A.J. Green under contract. They don't want to get rid of him. I don't think that they're going to move him. I mean, A.J. Green, he wants out so badly right now because now they've already made the decision to bench Andy Dalton, who Andy Dalton loves throwing to A.J. Green. A.J. Green loves it when he throws to him. So now you're going to hand over the reins to a rookie quarterback and just hope that he can pan out and be able to deliver the ball to A.J. Green and company? I don't know, man. Do I think he'll still be in Cincinnati? I don't know. I'll say trick just because A.J. Green will probably do everything in his power to try to get out of Cincinnati.
Don't fail me again.
Yeah, so I would say treat because, again, I think he's already openly said, I don't want to be here. I'm not going to sign anything here. So, I mean, the relationship is hurt.
I meant
he's
treat.
older.
Sorry, I meant treat.
Yeah. He like you said, they got rid of Dalton. So what are they going to do next year? They just going to put him back in again? I mean,
They got
what are
Ryan
they gonna
Finley.
do? Yeah, Ryan Finley. He's got to get his chance to see what they're going to do there. So these guys are aging now. You're going to see they're going to be turning around. The team's going to keep them anymore. They got to move on, trying to get youth. Are they going to find other spots where they could be useful here and there? You've seen the Patriots try and grab guys that are a little bit longer in the tooth to try and just fit their scheme. They end up getting Mohamed Sanu over there now in a trade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that works too because he has stupendous hands. And if they want to, they could just throw it to him, and he can pass the ball too as well. He's got 100% passer.
And that's the thing,
percentage,
too, about
so
that trade. It works for both teams.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons got a second-round pick.
Yeah.
A second-rounder for a 30-something-year-old receiver. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so there you go. That's our trick or treat segment. It comes around every once in a year at Halloween. Swervo Gaming says Green being gone might be good because the young Tate is coming along well and getting more reliable. Yeah, I mean, if you could find some guys here too. Now, though, you want to talk about Ryan Finley getting comfortable with the guys. No, because it's a different quarterback now. You've got to get a different feel. They have their own guys. I mean, we saw with Sam Darnold when he came into the scene, you thought maybe Robbie Anderson or some other guys were going to get some more of their shots here, and he likes Quincy Enunwa. Quincy Enunwa came on the scene. It was like, oh, wow, look at him. And because he kept dishing it to him, he's comfortable with him.
Yeah, you're already
Daniel
seeing
Jones, I think, was comfortable with a lot of some of the guys that are like second, third
Yeah, 'cause
wide
that's who they
receivers
practice
because
with.
that's who they practice with. So you're going to see different relationships there.
And
with some of these
you've
guys
already
moving
seen
forward.
the emergence of Auden Tate, who's been on this Bengals roster for like the last 3 years and just hasn't been able to given an opportunity to shine. Now you're seeing him starting to make a lot of plays with Tyler Boyd and company. So John Ross, he made a huge splash early in the year, but again, he does get injured like almost every single season. So that's been his Achilles heel, and now he's injured yet again. He's due to come back, but you got to stay healthy there, John. But yeah, AJ Green, like he wants out. I think Cincinnati they should be willing to let him go because then you get rid of that salary too. Let him go and maybe chase a Super Bowl ring somewhere or something like that. Give him a chance. Also, what does Swervo said? Who would you start, AP or Kenyon Drake? I'm not. Here's the thing: is Kenyon Drake, he's on a brand new team this week. He's had to really cram the offense and learn the offense in a matter of a couple 2 to 3 days for the contest tomorrow night. He is going to start. Because be honest, they have no more Chase Edmonds. DJ is hurt. He's day to day. No one really. He should be ready for next week. Maybe not this week. But Kenyon Drake, he's it. So he'll get the opportunities. We just don't know how well they're going to be executed because, let's face it, they're playing the 49ers.
Yes.
The Cardinals are playing the 49ers. The Cardinals don't have a very good offensive line. That, to me, just means it's going to absolutely be chaotic in the backfield. I don't expect Drake to have a huge game unless it's receiving. That's the only spot where I think he could have a big game is going out into the flat, hitting slants, hitting drag routes to get open just for Kyler Murray to dump it off to him. And that's kind of like what happened with Chase Edmonds. That's how he had that huge game because they just kept dumping it off and letting him run with it. So you have that aspect of it, and to learn the offense, I think it's a lot to ask of a guy in a matter of a couple days. Not sure if he can do it or not. But AP, again, and if this is Adrian Peterson, right?
Yeah,
Right?
Remember, he picked up Adrian Peterson
that's
because,
right.
again, he was out there still.
That's right.
He still needed another running back.
So you still have Chris Thompson. He's banged up. He's not going to be there. AP is on a terrible.
He had Zeke
Redskins,
or somebody tried to trade him Zeke? I forget whoever. He had good running backs, too.
I think it was Melvin Gordon for
Was it
Zeke.
Melvin Gordon for Zeke? Yeah.
And we told him to do the trade.
Do the trade.
I don't know. I don't remember
know if
last
he
time
did,
our
though, or not.
conversation.
Yeah.
It's been a while. So, but AP, I probably would go with AP. I don't know. It's just terrible because the Redskins. I think that Case Keenum is not going to be the starter this
Right,
week.
yeah.
I think Bill
He's gotta go
Callahan.
through the
Now that they've
concussion protocol
moved on from Jay Gruden, they also are kind of moving on from the quarterbacks that were supposed to just hold the torch for a little bit. Now Dwayne Haskins, I think, is going to be the starter for the rest of the year. They want to get him experience, and they want to see if he can develop relatively quickly for the second half of the season. That scares me if you're an AP owner because now teams aren't going to be afraid of Haskins at all throwing the ball. They're going to challenge him. In fact, they're going to try to stuff AP. That's going to be the sole mission every week. So I'm not crazy about either back, to be honest. If I had to choose one, I guess I would choose Kenyon Drake because of his receiving ability, because he can catch the ball out of the backfield very well. And the Redskins, they're just ugly right now. I don't see, and they're going against a tough defense. So I just don't see that they're going to be able to do very much.
And he says here, too, I need to start a risky flex this week with either Kenny Stills, the new starting running back on the Lions, and Zay Jones. So
And Zay Jones.
So
So you
Zay
need to pick
Jones,
one of them.
he's finally going to be
So
go for the Raiders, right?
Yeah. He started last week.
Start last week.
So, I mean, the running back for the Lions, here's a little bit. Is it Ty Johnson or is it Carson? I need to know that.
Here, I'll look it up quick.
Because they both played.
Ty Johnson. Yep.
No, they both play. It's like 4 running backs playing in that
right.
offense.
Yeah, well, right now they've got it here. Ty Johnson, at least from our lads, is first in the depth chart over everybody.
Yeah, he's first
so
on the
we'll
depth
see.
chart, but
J.D.
they-
McKissick is right there, though.
4 of them get the ball. That's the problem with the Lions, is that 4 running backs are getting the
and
ball.
the thing is, they're really terrible in the rushing attack. So, I mean, what are you going to get from them altogether? Unless they get them involved in the passing game.
They all do. But that's the problem, though, is that because it's being distributed up so much that I don't think any of those running backs are an option right now. Until somebody steps up and takes over that lead role, it's too much of a risk to start any of the Lions running backs right now. Zay Jones, Tyrell Williams is back. They like their younger receivers with the Raiders. Zay Jones is one of those younger receivers, but it's like, how much time is he going to get? He had 2 catches last week. I don't think he's going to be that prominent of a player week in and week out. So for me, I would probably go with Kenny Stills with the Houston Texans. We've seen him now that he's learned the playbook. He's been a little bit more of the move the change type of receiver for the Texans. I think he scored something like 10 points last week or something like that. You add a touchdown to that, it's a decent outing for an average receiver on that crazy Texans offense. So that's what I would bet on. I would bet on Kenny Stills this week.
There you go. There's some fantasy questions there. That's good to see that. We haven't done fantasy phenoms or anything like that or things in a while.
No,
maybe we should get into that maybe next week. Also, I got a message from my friend Jeremiah Spicer too.
You did?
Yes, I did. He is cleared to do interviews on his own now. He doesn't need the team's approval. So we will be contacting Jeremiah Spicer from now the Los Angeles Wildcats.
That's right, XFL.
That's right, from the XFL, and we'll get him on and talk about what it was like getting drafted there in his experience so far and that moving forward. So that'd be interesting with the XFL, because also on our page, on our Facebook, if you guys didn't see any of it yet, I know YouTubers are out there, and it's tough to get our information out to you guys there, but we received word that the AFL now is suspended operations for now. So now the Arena League, which some of these guys that are in the XFL now, some of these guys are from the Arena League, they have suspended all operations here because of a legal battle with the insurance company that is handling their player what is it?
Player injuries.
Player injury, workers' comp kind of deal or whatever, stuff like that.
Basically, what it came down to is that the insurance companies said that they didn't want to keep paying for all these injuries because the injuries were mounting up.
They were mounting up.
So much to the point where the insurance companies were like, wait a second, whoa. There's no way you guys have this many injuries going on, and we have to pay for all these medical bills.
Yeah. So
they kind of put a squash on it. It's on a hold in a holding pattern, and now going to become a court battle.
And they said that they're going to reevaluate maybe some of their rules. Maybe they'll get rid of some of the hits into the walls again. Maybe eliminate some of that. They said they're going to reevaluate some of that stuff there too.
It's cushioned.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I mean, but I don't know. They're going to say they're looking at other avenues and things, and
all right,
to move forward from that. But we've got Cynthia Blair in the house watching from Florida, Joe. 82 degrees, Cynthia. Oh my goodness, 82 degrees out there. Yeah, the best day ever. 82 right now.
Nice.
That'd be nice. Yeah, yeah. We're still not cold here in New York yet.
No, not yet.
Tomorrow's going to be a balmy 70 degrees, rainy as hell and wet, but it's going to be 70, right? Just in time for the day after that to be 50 and cold and more rain.
Excellent.
So that's the way we are here in the fall in New York. So Cynthia's watching. A pleasure having you on here with us. And Ty Johnson here, Swervo Gaming says agrees here too. It is Ty Johnson.
Yeah.
But you said go with Kenny Stills. Yeah, I think that's the better bet too because again, Zay Jones just still getting acclimated with the Oakland Raiders and the running back two situation in Detroit is still kind of up and down here and there. All right, so Joe, you know what time it is? It's time to hit us up with the drop to hit us up with some headlines.
This is the drop.
Jacksonville Jaguars D-tackle Marcel Darius will undergo surgery for a core muscle injury and will be out for 4 to 6 weeks, per Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. The Detroit Lions announced that they have signed free agent safety Marcus Gilchrist. Much of a journeyman, this guy. He's been team to team to team. And this comes right after the fact that they've traded away one of their better defensive backs in Quandre Diggs, which was puzzling. 26 years old he was.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that.
And still is.
Yeah,
But
yeah, still is.
now, I mean, I'm just confused by it all. Like, got rid of another young guy. New England Patriots traded for veteran D-end to the Dallas Cowboys in exchange for a 2020 7th-round draft pick that can also be conveyed as a 2021 6th-rounder, according to Adam Schefter and Jordan Schultz of ESPN. So, that player being Michael Bennett. Michael Bennett gets traded from the Patriots because he was complaining. He's like, hey, I need to be out there on the field. You guys brought me in. I want to get out there and produce. And the position coaches had other ideas. Became a little bit of an argument. Patriots don't stand for that. They end up shipping out Michael Bennett. Chiefs' punter Dustin Colquitt was named Week 7 NFLPA Community MVP after hosting his 13th annual Team Smile program that provided free dental care to 324 underprivileged children from the Kansas City area. So kudos to Dustin Colquitt.
Yeah,
You're the man,
definitely.
bro.
That's good.
That's awesome. Zanini Sanias, that's right, that's a name, allegedly stole $10,000 Tom Brady jersey from the Patriots Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I heard that. How about that?
David Linton of the San Chronicle reported. Patriots security and Foxborough police said they found Zanini Sanias in the parking lot and apprehended him. He apparently stole the... I don't know. First of all, I don't know if it's encased. I don't know like how he got to it. But after he did come in grips with it, he put it on under his jacket and just like kind of walked out to the parking lot.
Nobody's going to notice that.
No one's going to notice that. It's not on camera or anything. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Kalichi Assembly's saga with the New York Jets came to an end when the offensive lineman was released this past week. This all stems from kind of like an injury battle, if you will, between the Jets and Kalichi. He needed shoulder surgery, went to 3 different doctors. They all said he needed surgery. The team doctors, on the other hand, said, I got bronchitis. Just take some painkillers and go play. So now there's going to be a little bit of a court battle there. And we thought the Jets' offensive line was bad. Now they just don't even have their starting guard there.
There you go.
Jets linebacker C.J. Mosley, who had more tests on his groin this week, is expected to be out a few more weeks, a source said. And who knows, this guy, C.J. Mosley, after they've obtained this guy, it's almost like he's in and out of the lineup. I just don't understand.
Oh, I know. That's one of the guys they could have used on this defense all season.
Yeah, no, he comes in for 1 week and then he gets hurt again. Bill Belichick became the 3rd head coach in NFL history to register 300 career wins, joining Pro Football Hall of Famers Don Shula with 347 and George Halas 324.
Boom, shakalaka.
Belichick's first win as NFL head coach, this might get a little chuckle, came against the Cleveland Browns, and the Patriots' 300th win came, you guessed it, against the Cleveland Browns.
It's going to be legend. Wait for it. Dairy.
The Miami Dolphins traded running back Kenyon Drake to the Arizona Cardinals, as we kind of already just talked about that, for a conditional 2020 6th-round draft pick. It could become a 5th-round pick per NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. And this is something crazy. You know, we saw DJ Johnson. He's been in and out of the lineup throughout this whole season. Chase Edmonds kind of came in as soon as DJ went out, took the league by storm last week. Now he's hurt. They go ahead and they pull off a trade for Drake. You know, what are Miami Dolphins doing? They're just getting rid of every talented player they got, except for Xavier Howard.
No, God!
The New York Jets traded D lineman Leonard Williams to the New York Giants. The Giants gave up a 3rd-round draft pick in 2020 and a 5th-round selection in 2021, and will pay $2 million of Williams' remaining $6 million salary. Schefter added that the 5th-round pick can become a 4th-round selection if Williams signs an extension before the start of the 2020 league year, per Adam Schefter of ESPN. Houston Texans defensive end J.J. Watt suffered a torn pectoral injury and will miss the remainder of the 2019 season, per Ian Rappaport. Houston fans, I'm just, I just want to ask this question to you. Is J.J. Watt, with all the money that they're paying J.J. Watt, he just seems to get injured now way more often late in his career. Is it about time to move on from J.J.? Just saying, because I really do believe that his contract ends this season. You're going to re-up and pay him big dollars, or are you going to let him walk?
We'll see.
Cardinals running back Chase Edmonds to miss a few weeks with a hamstring injury, per Tom Pelissero. We just touched on it a little bit before. The Cleveland Browns have traded defensive end and linebacker Jannard Avery to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 2021 undisclosed draft pick. This is a little bit of a sleeper move by the Eagles. Jannard Avery, he's been a long-time starter for the Cleveland Browns and has been a quite a good linebacker for them while he was there. The Eagles kind of get a little bit of a sleeper here at linebacker, and it's going to pay off big dividends for them.
It's funny here, quick on the J.J. Watt. We are on a bit of a delay here when we stream because we just brought this up here. Jeremy Clue chimes in. Is it time to move on from J.J. Watt? You
Yes.
just seriously just asked that. So
Absolutely.
I mean, so there you go. We'll see.
According to Adam Schefter of ESPN, Baltimore signed wide receiver Willie Snead IV. Now you got to say everyone puts these numbers at the end.
Yeah.
To a one-year contract extension worth $6 million. The extension is fully guaranteed. This is funny to me. This signing, they go ahead and they pay this money to Willie Snead, but Willie Snead hasn't been that dramatic of a playmaker for them because maybe Lamar Jackson should throw the ball more. Just saying. Juju Smith-Schuster has the most 100-yard receiving games before turning 23 in NFL history. Yeah! He has 12 100-yard games. The second player to do so is none other than Randy Moss with 11. So he's in with some good company.
Good
right
company,
there.
yeah, definitely.
Denver Broncos starting quarterback Joe Flacco reportedly will miss 5 to 6 weeks with a herniated disc in his neck, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL.com.
I got bronchitis.
I don't know about that because Joe Flacco, it seems awfully funny after he completely blasted the Denver Broncos and their status.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden now he's designated with an injury and he's going to be out for some time.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds really fishy because, again, he has been pretty vocal. I mean, you can see it in his attitude, in his face, everything. And when he's playing, he's like, I can't believe I'm even here right now. You know, you can see it.
Oh, Vic Fangio.
And then now all of a sudden, he's injured. I understand that.
He took it to heart, and now all of a sudden he's injured. I think it's kind of funny.
Yep.
So they're going with, I think it's their third string quarterback,
yes, it
right?
is. Yes, because I think, whatchamacallit is hurt.
Yeah,
too
he's
as
hurt.
well.
He's still hurt.
So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good job, John.
Yes. There you go. Broncos doing well.
The L.A. Chargers fired offensive coordinator Ken Whisenhunt, the team announced on Monday. Why? Question mark? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not
Ken
his fault.
Whisenhunt.
These guys have to execute.
He's
you know?
one of the and this is his second stint with the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to call offensive plays. He's very successful with Phillip Rivers and their offensive weapons that they have. All of a sudden, you're going to point the blame at Ken Whisenhunt and say, "Oh, this is all your fault why we're losing." It's not the fact that we're all banged up on defense and offense. It's not to the fact that our offensive line is all banged up. Our second, we don't have Derwin James. We don't have Melvin Ingram on defense. We don't have half the guys we do on offense. No, it's all your fault. Okay, whatever.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
Major League Football, which had planned to launch in 2016 but pulled the plug, now plans to get started in 2020. The league has acquired gear previously owned by the AAFL, purchasing virtually all of the football equipment, video equipment, and medical supplies necessary for 8 teams. So this is a little bit of news that just kind of came up to the surface here. There's been this league called Major League Football that's kind of been in a holding pattern since 2016, has now purchased all the equipment from AAFL, and they look like they're going to make a big step forward in 2020.
Let's see.
The NCAA is going to allow athletes to cash in on their own fame. And this is kind of like a big deal in the college ranks. We've seen that, the state of California has already kind of paved the way with a bill. Now, this isn't officially all said and done yet. They're still taking parameters, and there's a long process to make this all official.
Yeah.
But they're starting to get the ball rolling, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing here for them. And some people have brought out, like, now will we see EA start to make the NCAA game again?
I hope so.
We'll see.
Please,
it could
EA.
be interesting what they could do with that.
I have been missing college football forever now. I just want to play college football again. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Yeah.
The LA Rams have traded cornerback Aqib Talib and a 5th-round selection to the Miami Dolphins in exchange for a future draft pick. The Rams have announced, and we got into discussion earlier in the show. It benefits both teams. The Cincinnati Bengals will bench quarterback Andy Dalton and start rookie Ryan Finley in Week 10 against the Baltimore Ravens, per Tom Pelissero of NFL Network. Happy birthday, Andy Dalton, by the way, because this happened on his birthday. They said, hey, by the way, you're benched.
All right, cool. I can get drunk then.
That's right.
My birthday then. That's awesome.
Dolphins cornerback Xavier Howard is headed to the IR with a knee injury. So as much as we thought maybe the Dolphins can't get any worse on the roster, not only have they been trading away talent, but now they're just losing them to injuries. Or fake ones. Who knows? Not really sure. Patriots are cutting kicker Mike Nugent, per Albert Breer, and have signed kicker Nick Folk as a replacement.
Yeah, Nick Folk.
It's like a revolving door now in New England with kickers.
I don't know.
It's like, hey, guess what?
A kicker is a kicker.
You get an opportunity just for 1 week, and then we're going to go to someone else.
I don't know. I don't think there's any difference. Go ahead.
Falcons release kicker Matt Bryant. Now, here's what's interesting.
Yeah.
This is something that I could see happening is now that this is news, the Patriots might cut Nick Folk and add Matt Bryant, another vet.
Who knows? And now, the Atlanta Falcons have Mushu Kai Pan, right?
No. They've signed Young Ho Koo as a replacement. And for a lot of people that really have no clue who this guy is, he did start his career with the LA Chargers. Used to be San Diego Chargers.
Yes.
And just never panned out. He missed a ton of field goals early on, and they were just like, no, we can't have this. You got to go. So he's made his rounds on a couple of rosters. Now he finds him with the Falcons. I don't know. God bless him. Maybe he got better. I don't know. Offensive tackle Trent Williams ends Redskins holdout after trade deadline passes. His contract is now locked in for the rest of the season, but will he ever play for the Redskins? We'll have to wait and see.
We'll tell.
Raiders have re-signed linebacker Brandon Marshall, per source. This comes along the move, and it's a little confusing because I thought they would re-sign him when Vontaze Burfict got suspended to bring him. They've been thin at linebacker for a couple weeks now. Now they managed to go ahead and sign him. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Brandon Marshall won't last the whole season either. We know that he gets injured. Josh Norman donated $60,000 to a local school that teaches kids to code and build websites after hearing that a fire ruined their classroom, per Corey Smith of NBC. Another generous donation made by an NFL player, but Josh Norman, as much as a lot of people see him as this kind of rugged, tough guy on the field that likes to get into trouble, he also does some nice things off the field.
Yeah.
And there you have it, everybody, the drop.
Yes, there we go. That's a drop. All right, a lot of news going on, a lot of craziness. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here tonight. You can subscribe to us on YouTube at Football on the No Show. Join our group at Facebook, Football on the No Show as well, and on Twitter, FB_No. You can follow us there on Twitter for all latest news and updates and some funny stuff we tweet out. Sorry, Swervo Gaming, I didn't get to you during our drop, but hopefully if you're still there, he said, could you trust Matt Moore, you think? And I don't know exactly what he means by either just the game, but I'm thinking fantasy-wise again with this one or not, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what he means by that.
Your league would have to be like so porous at quarterback to pick up Matt Moore. I'm sorry. I cannot. If it's a fantasy
maybe
question.
Maybe whoever lost Mahomes, but if they didn't have a better backup by then, but I don't know.
There's got to be guys like Josh Allen out there. Gardner Minshew is out there. Gardner Minshew is actually a decent, stopgap type of fantasy quarterback. He could fill in nicely, especially this week. I think he has a good matchup. But Matt Moore, if that's really the sole guy that you're bringing in fantasy, I don't trust it. If it's more of a question about going forward with Patrick Mahomes being out, can the Chiefs be fine? I think they have enough weapons around Matt Moore that he doesn't really have to be like Patty Mahomes and light the league on fire. With all those weapons, with Travis Kelce, with, when the hell is Sammy Watkins going to come back? That's one thing. That would really open up this offense. But Travis Kelce, you have Damian Williams, you have just a bunch of running backs that they just throw in there and they can perform. And Tyreek Hill's now healthy again. So if it's a question on how long Mahomes going to be out, he's not going to be out very long. Right. I mean, I know the initial status was, he'll be out 3 to 6 weeks. Well, guess what? The dude is practicing already after 1 week. And that's because he's double jointed in his knee. So his knee popped out, it popped back in. It's just going to be sore for a couple of weeks, and then he'll be right back playing for the season. So long term, Matt Moore isn't going to be lasting very long.
All right, Joe, you know what time it is. It's our picks competition. We got to move it on now, Joe. Our picks, and this is where our standings are at right now. So we've tied, Joe. Again, last week we were tied. And then we did our picks. We went 13-2 last week. So we were lights out. We were full straight out balling last week. And you had every team that I picked, but then you said if the Raiders were going to put in Trent Brown, if he was healthy enough to play, you would go with the Raiders. But luckily enough for you that he didn't, and we stuck with your picks. So now we're both at 81-40-1 right now on the season.
We're tied again.
We're tied. So this is a great competition here that we're doing for the alcoholic beverage at the end of the season that we're going to do. So we're ready to get started. We had Mike Tackett play along with us last week again, and some others do it. I mean, it's great. If you guys are with us here, you want to go over your picks, tell us your picks too as well. We keep track of it too. We have a lot of fun with it and see where we've landed with you. We've done pretty well against the know-it-all, so still too. But we enjoy you guys coming in here and keeping up with us. And let's get to it for another week. Let's kind of round down through this.
Just want to say thank you to everybody for your support. It's been awesome, been really amazing through all the different spectrums of social media. YouTube especially, thank you so much, guys, for checking in on us. Swervo Gaming, thank you so much for showing back up. We did miss you. We've been talking about you. Off the air, we're like, hey, whatever happened to him? But thanks for stopping by, saying hello, dropping some good questions. Facebook, it's been an awesome ride. I mean, we now have 495 members, and they are legit members. Yeah. Unlike the 700 something we did before Facebook got rid of all the fake ones.
Yeah.
And Twitter. Yeah. On the Twitterverse, thank you very much for anybody that's joined us, has become a member. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and the fact that we started out just in a little basement and doing just like a podcast so you could just hear us and our words. Now we're a full-on show and we do this extravagant stuff and have fun with all you people out there too as well. It's awesome, and we thank you very much. And tell your friends some more. Let's get this family growing, and let's get it. And I'm going to try hard to try and cut some more videos for YouTube and get some more skits out there for you guys and shorten videos too, so we can help grow our brand too and see us out there. All right, let's go right to tomorrow night's game. We have the San Francisco 49ers against the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals have been playing better as of late here,
every week.
But San Francisco has been also just destroying it on defense in here. So I have been able to see Arizona put up some great pressure here with the front four that they have. And Chandler Jones still playing like lights out. But even though they have been, I think they're still going to have a struggle here against the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm just going to say I'm rolling with the 49ers on this one. I'm going to pick them until I can't no more.
This should not be very tough, but this is a divisional game. So, I mean, they know each other very well. I'm not saying that it's going to be very close, but I think it might be closer than people think. I'm not really sure that the Niners will put up 50-some-odd points against this team, but the Niners will end up winning this game with the great defense that they have and the offense that is very polished so far. Kyler Murray, he's going to get a lot of garbage time. So for all you people out there, in fantasy, he might be worth playing because they'll be playing from behind.
All right, Houston now in Jacksonville here. Jacksonville, they're up and down. They're still riding the Minshew train. He's doing pretty good. I mean, it looks like they've found their quarterback of the future, at least right now. What they're going to do with Nick Foles in the offseason coming up will be interesting with them. But Jacksonville's at home. They play tough. Houston had to really duke it out here with the Oakland Raiders. They got behind in that game. And the thing what I have liked about this team is that in those tough games where they are behind, they've been able to gather everything together and not let the game get out of hand and surge through and come back and get some of those major wins and not falter like some other teams have in the AFC. So they're going to have a tough out here, Jacksonville at home, but I'm still going to ride with Houston even though they don't have J.J. Watt here and he's done. I'm going to just side towards Houston's side here on this one.
Yeah, Houston to me is a little funny. You know, they do play well sometimes. Sometimes they don't play very well. And their offensive line really isn't that good. They're coming into Jacksonville. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars because their defense, I think, are going to put a ton of pressure on Houston. Now, I still think Houston's going to be able to put up some points, obviously. But the Jaguars are no slouch on defense either. They're a lot healthier than the Texans are, and the Texans give up a lot of points through the air. So I think Jaguars are going to pound the rock. They're going to be able to throw the ball and play good defense. I got the Jaguars at home.
All right, Washington Redskins at the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo is home again, but luckily for them, again, you're not facing, after a tough loss against the Eagles, they can bounce back here against Washington. And Case Keenum, like you said, he's probably going through that concussion protocol still. Not going to be in there. They might as well go with Dwayne Haskins and help try and get him used to the game flow and see if he can progress. But I'm liking them odds. In Buffalo, if Dwayne Haskins gets to face this defense, oh, God bless him here for Washington. So I'm just sticking with Buffalo here for a bounce-back game.
Yeah, I mean,
going with the Bills.
Listen, Buffalo's home. They play tough at home. Listen, the Eagles came to Buffalo. They got away with a win, but they just executed better than Buffalo did. I think Buffalo's going to be pissed after losing that game. That's a game that I think they should have won. They're going to come back. They're going to take it all out on the Washington Redskins, a franchise that's in turmoil right now with their own players, with not really having a true direction in the future. I think the Bills with their defense and Josh Allen is going to be able to prey on the Redskins' weak secondary. Bills all the way.
All right, Minnesota and Kansas City. Like Swervo had brought up now, like, could you trust Matt Moore? How you think? They are here at home. They do play better all together as a team, but you do have Matt Moore. You do have some of their guys coming back, though, too. Minnesota is red hot. And are we going to see Adam Thielen back for this game? Is he going to be able to play
he's good.
here?
He's a go.
Now you've got Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. So Stephon Diggs has been a big major part of this team.
Diggs alone would tear this team up.
Minnesota's been on fire going into Kansas City. Kansas City has been able to keep the ship afloat, but I think this week, meeting up with Minnesota, they're on fire. I'm going with the Vikings.
And because we're picking in the middle of the week, we don't get the injury reports for this week and stuff. I'm just going to throw this out there. Is if Patty Mahomes is starting this week, I got the Chiefs. Yeah. If not, which that's what we're expecting. We're expecting Matt Moore to get another start. I'm going to go with the Vikings. So for me, I'm going to take the Vikings. Their defense is better than the Chiefs. Their offense is running a lot more consistent, a lot better now because since the offensive coordinator has decided, hey, maybe I shouldn't run it as much. Maybe I should make it more balanced. They are a lot more dangerous team offensively.
And I picked Dalvin Cook to be my rushing leader last year. It seems like I was a year off here, and he is the rushing leader currently. So watch out for him, too, to get touches and run on this Kansas City Chiefs team.
Oh, he's going to have a field day.
It's going to be amazing to see that. All right, the New York Jets now and the Miami Dolphins. Is this the Toilet Bowl 2.0? Possibly here, the Dolphins surging.
This could be. Maybe this is the game the Dolphins could win before the Patriots.
Yeah, there you go. That's a trick or treat. Maybe it is. This could be the game here. The Jets in disarray at times here, and with everything with the trade rumors going around and stuff. Is that enough to be tough for these guys? Will Sam Darnold be seeing ghosts in Miami? We don't know. But the Dolphins have been playing a little better at times. Xavier Howard's not going to be there. So I think I'm just going to lean towards the Jets here. This is the Jets' game to lose. So I'm going with the Jets.
Yeah, and even though they're going to Miami and this is a divisional game, they know each other very well. I just like the roster the Jets have versus what the Dolphins have. They still have talent. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not completely bashing the Dolphins. They have a kid by the name of Preston Williams at receiver. He's going to be a nice starter for them from now on. And Devontae Parker, another name that never got traded before the deadline that a lot of people thought was going to be on the move. He's still there, and he's making his own name down there in Miami. All of a sudden now he's healthy for once. So now he's starting to play very well. But the Jets, all in all, I think they're going to be too much for Miami in the end. I think this is going to come down to a field goal, actually. I think this is going to be a lot closer because the teams are both trying to feel their way to get an identity each. So, yeah, Jets.
All right, now we got the Chicago Bears going into Philadelphia against the Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles that played a lot of tougher teams very hard. They have gone in and they barely lost to the Cowboys, but they played them tough. They just showed up the Bills, who thought we might have been. They might be in competition with the Patriots.
Definitely.
So they're still a tough team. Just had been on the just the short end of the stick, I guess, with some of these games. Chicago, they're just struggling right now. Even the defense can't get it going for them. It's not enough to bail them out because the inept offense. So I'm going to just ride with the Philadelphia Eagles just because they play tough at home. They're on a better wave. They're on the uptick. And the Chicago Bears, they might be looming down to where Matt Nagy last year was the coach of the year. This year, there's questions going on. So what's going to go on with the Bears? It's in turmoil right now. So I'm going for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, this is the rematch of the playoffs, everybody. The Bears and the Eagles, they faced off in the first round of the playoffs last year. The Bears got the better of the Eagles, the other way around. The Eagles got the better.
It came down to a kick.
Cody Parkey.
Yep.
But everybody blames Cody Parkey, but it got partially blocked, everybody. Got deflected just
they've
enough.
Had kicking problems, too. They just lost last week because of a kick.
Because of a kick. So maybe you should have kept Cody.
Maybe.
It wasn't his
That's
fault.
What I'm saying.
But again, the Bears defense
curse.
still a very strong defense. However, they're playing way too much. They're just staying out on the field way too long. They're getting tired a lot quicker because the Bears offense is just terrible. That's simple. Whether it's with Trubisky or with Chase Daniels, it just doesn't matter. And until they right the ship there, they're still going to continue to struggle. Eagles coming off a big win against Buffalo. Also, Deshaun Jackson is due to come back this week, giving them another big, deep threat on the receiving corps, getting another healthy player there. So I look for the Eagles, who are slowly getting a little healthy week to week, to come into Philly and just take over and get the win.
All right, Indianapolis and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has been able to keep afloat here. Almost got out of hand there against the Miami Dolphins here, but we're able to bring it back on and really pound 27 unanswered points there against the Miami Dolphins. But Indianapolis, Frank Reich, he's up for Coach of the Year, and I think he possibly could win it here
100%.
just because he is managing this team despite losing your quarterback 2 weeks in before you're going to start, the preseason, and it's just what he's done and finding different ways to win. He doesn't attack every game the same way. You don't see the same offense. You see a little more run this game, a little more pass this game, mixing it up. That defense is still stellar. I'm liking the Indianapolis Colts in here to take out the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are a little banged up. And, you got Mason Rudolph there, too, coming off a concussion. And James Conner, too, is banged up. So, I mean, they're just got guys, too many holes. I like the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Conner being banged up, and this is the thing. Me and Jim have talked about it before. He's not very durable. Mm-hmm. So even though he's a very good running back, he doesn't stay on the field all season long. He gets hurt very quickly, and Jalen Samuels has a chance right now to make a statement that maybe he should be the leader in the backfield. We've seen him time and time again when he's given the opportunity to take over and has done an adequate job for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Colts, they're no joke, and everybody knows it now. It's not a secret. They have a very good defense. Nobody really talks about their defense as much as their offense, but nonetheless, they're coming to town in Pittsburgh. I think they're going to put on a good show there. I don't see this being a blowout either way. I see this being a close game, but I got the Colts edging out the Steelers.
All right. Now, the Tennessee Titans, who are a different team completely under Ryan Tannehill here moving forward, Still don't get enough Derrick Henry for my taste. I would just love Derrick Henry all day long. Why not? Just let him run 99-yard touchdowns every down, But here we go. The Carolina Panthers now got punched in the mouth last week.
Mm-hmm.
When I thought it was going to be a little closer, like we brought up before against 49ers, they just got shocked. Boom, see ya. But they are at home now. They're going to probably play a little better here. This is going to be a closer game. I would say pay attention to Christian McCaffrey here. He's got to be a big part of this game. I'm going to side with Carolina Panthers on this one.
Yeah, this is a tough game to pick because
it could go either way.
We've seen Carolina struggle last week. But however, they went against one of the tougher defenses you'll ever face this season in the NFL. Titans, they've kind of been up and down all year. Now that's part of the reason was because Mariota was at the helm, and for whatever reason, they just couldn't make it work on offense. Derrick Henry, I would like to see him run the ball way more often, but unfortunately they don't. The offensive line for the Titans is a little unique. I think they're better run blockers than they are pass blockers. And the one good thing that Tannehill does is he gets rid of the ball quickly. Titans do have a good defense, just like the Panthers do. It's going to come down to which team is more efficient and executes when given the opportunities. I'm having a hard battle here. I think I'm going to go with the home team just because I'm on the fence. I'm going to go with the Panthers.
All right, here we go. Now, Detroit Lions here and the Oakland Raiders. This is an interesting matchup here for me, so I'm going to let you go first on this one. Because, I don't know. I've seen the thing is with Oakland for me is if you get ahead, you need to hold on to the lead. That's the one problem this team has had. They cannot hold on to the lead. So, and that's the thing too, Detroit, they're sneaky. They're going to play just about to where the Oakland Raiders level is. So I can see this being a 21-23 or 7-23 kind of
24-21.
24-27 kind of thing.
That's what I think.
So, what do you like? Who do you like in this one? Your Raiders here at home? Or do you like the Detroit Lions?
Well, I mean, for the Raiders, it's got to be some hell of a relief here because they've been on the road for 7 straight weeks, traveling to different countries, different stadiums all the time. So now they finally get to have a home game since week 2, and what a relief for them. They got to be pumped coming out, right? When they're playing the Detroit Lions, they play way better at home than they do away, for one. For two, the Raiders, their offense